as an artist yourself, and the whole Hyro movement, you guys have, through music that you've created this a community that not only is still here, but keeps on growing and keeps bringing in generation after generation. And you become such an important part of our world. And I've wondered this before, what kind of things go through your minds when you see that kind of stuff? Like, when something goes up on the Hyro shop and then 2 hours later, like everything's gone, that happens all the time.
Yeah, man. I don't even think I can digest it the way that, like if I wasn't in the group and I'm on the outside looking in, and like, since I'm, I know, okay, these are going to drop tomorrow, you know what I mean? And I've seen like the whole behind the scenes process of like, during COVID, it was like, oh, well, this company is not, all the ships are backed up and you know what I mean? So I see like all the behind the scenes stuff happening. And I guess the culmination of all that is like the products, somebody actually putting the product on their head and saying, oh man, I love this product. It's a hat, and it's my favorite hat or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's what you set out to do. So it's kind of like mission accomplished, kind of more. You get that kind of feeling like, I tried to do this. I intended on doing it. And we got the desired result, and then, but then it's like, you don't get to exhale for that long because somebody's going to email and say they didn't get their product or it's not a perfect, we're not a perfect business. We try to be, but there's always work to do. You take the good with the bad, so to speak. And hopefully there's a lot more good than bad, but we're just thankful that we've been able to like withstand a lot of the bumps and bruises that come along with running a small business. And like, I mean, it is mind-boggling that the Hyro logo itself has kind of taken on this life of its own, separate from the music. And just like, it kind of just represents Hyro, but it almost represents it pretty much transcends Hyro now at this point. I think it just represents true. You know what I mean? I think that when you see somebody with the Hyro hat on, I think what they're saying is like, I hold my musical taste to a high standard, and I'm true school, and I'm true to myself. I'm true to this. I'm not new to this.
It becomes like a real identity kind of thing.
Right.
So another thing linked to that question is like Hyro Day, for example. And that just keeps getting bigger every year, which is, I mean, I've loved seeing that grow.
Yeah, man. Man, you want me to just expound upon what Hyro Day is about, or you got a specific question that you
Well, yeah, I guess just similar to the last one, like, when you see that happening and...
Yeah, okay. Man, so the first one, man, I was going back to this, the way things make you feel is like, it brought me to tears, man, the first Hyro Day, because I didn't really understand, as the years went by, it became like, more integral to the process and like more work oriented as far as like the build up. But the first one was literally like an idea that was brought to us kind of by a fan, and then Casual was kind of like the fan came up with the idea for Hyro Day. So
seeing that.
And I hate that I don't know the guy's name. I feel like bad just calling him a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we should know his name and he should get his flowers for even making a suggestion of like, yo, 9-3 should be Hyro Day. You know what I mean? That was like ingenious within itself. So I guess that speaks more so to our fan base, and what kind of fans rock with us and have been rocking with us. But also, the fact that we had our ear to the street to even hear what they were saying. And that's easier now because of social media to kind of pay attention to what your fans have to say, but also just to not like say, this is just some guy like coming up with something. We were actually like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then Casual took it one step further by saying, well, why don't we throw something like, as opposed to just having it a holiday or having it a day that commemorates us, why don't we do it? That's the next logical step kind of. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, so but none of us had any idea that it would be what it is. Like, we just thought, we're gonna rent out this place called the New Parish, which is like, now that place has kind of like become a bigger, sort of more significant show venue here in Oakland. But at the time we knew some guys that were like running it, and we were just like last minute kind of thing, like, oh yeah, we're thinking about throwing this thing Hiro Day, and just we knew some people that had like businesses connected to it. So we were like, why don't we all just do something here in this spot, and then we'll block off the street, that kind of thing. And we thought it would be like, 30, 40, maybe 100 people tops there,
Yeah.
And it was like that in the morning when we first got there. And it was real slow and cool, but just slow. When I say slow, I mean it in a good way.
Yeah.
A lot of space. The skateboarders were out doing their thing. We had like a little farm thing going on for kids, and it was like real family oriented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like not any riffraff or anything like that. So then some performances started happening, because basically we just called up all our friends,
Yeah.
The Grouch and Mr. Fab and different local artists, and said, hey, I think Zion and I, we were just like, yeah, well, we're just going to do this thing, and it's going to be free event. So just come through, and we love for you to rock. And everybody was like super down. And they came. Pep performed inside at the New Parish, and I went in to watch him. And then I was like, I'm going to go home for a minute, and I'm going to come back. And when I came back, it had like ballooned to like, I want to say like 4,000 people.
Oh shit.
And I couldn't even get back into the, it was like, it was like this, like, and I'm like, and I couldn't even get back in. And they're like, you guys are getting ready to perform. And then by the time we got to the stage, it seemed like another 1,000 people came. Wow. So it went from like maybe 100 to 200 people to like 5,000 people. That's like, Oakland is small like that too. Like, It's like, once the word gets out, it's like,
everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah. And, Oakland, the demographic has changed a little bit since then. There's been some gentrification and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think that might have been like the end of old Oakland 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? This is the 10th year of Hiro Day this year.
Yeah.
So that one was the first one. And that one kind of brought me to tears, man. And then we decided we needed to bring another, just like your family, friends, and fans, like all there in the same spot to see you. Most of the time we perform away from home. We don't really do a lot of stuff in the Bay unless it's a smaller venue, and definitely not anything free. You know what I mean? So it was like a reunion, and a community event, and a show, and a festival, and a food, mart, and a local vendors festival, all tied into one. And it just like, we were just like, wow, if this can do like this on the first year, imagine what it can do. And here we are, the rest is history. 10 years later.
Yeah.
After the third year, it ballooned like 25,000, and we were like, well, this is like kind of too many people. We don't mind a lot of people, but for the space that it was in, it was just like, it started to get a little bit started to go outside a little bit of what we intended to be from the beginning. So we said, look, we're going to go broke doing it this way. Like, unless some like sponsorship flies in that's like out of this world. So we had to make a ticket price at that point.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about padding our pockets, like we've always told people. It was, it's not like most events, we don't charge $100 to get in. It's been 1993 from the very beginning. We kept it at 1993. We went up one year, we added like different tier pricing and stuff like that. So we've had changes. But back to the original question, it's like, man, my grandmother came, dude, my mom. It's a family event, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing, man. We haven't had there's nothing significant that's happened, along the way in the last 10 years to stop it. And that includes COVID. We kept going even with COVID. We did the virtual one last year. That was the first time we had ever done anything like that. Shout out to Shamari Smith, who did the 93 Til. I mean, I call it 93 Til, but it's the Til Infinity documentary about Souls of Mischief.
Yeah,
and he just had a bunch of. Yeah, so he's a filmmaker, and he had been there since day one, and he had been filming every Hiro Day. And he always, every year, I send him the press pass and say, we need you on stage. And he's been basically like the main stage, one of the main stage documentors of the event. And so around COVID time last year, he was like, man, I got all this footage, let's try to let's try to put together a retrospect or something of that nature. And did a wonderful job. Yeah, I mean, Oakland, we felt like it was sort of a void too, you know, around that time with hip hop festivals. You know, they would either be moving festivals or they would be something where hip hop was kind of on in the back seat. So, you know, you'd have paid dues or rock the bells, and those were great festivals that we went to prior to Hiero Day and learned a lot about. You know, we performed at those festivals.
Yeah.
And those got really, really big. And we were like, we kind of learned from that, like, this is not what we're going for here. We're kind of going for our own thing. We're not going for the big, huge, you know, 3-stage festival that's like, you know, you don't see anybody, you know, and like that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? This is like,
has it been harder to do that over the years, I guess? I mean, like the way you described the first one, I imagine from that day on, it must have been hard to keep that sort of, you know, the neighborhood vibe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the main way that we figured to get the contingent that we would like to have there, you know, aside from friends and family who we feel like they'll come, but just like also people that we don't know who are like-minded, is to have the lineup right. Because there's certain artists that are outside of that spectrum. I mean, it's not like outside artists outside of that spectrum can't be in the fold, but you just can't have too much of that. You know what I mean? It has to be designed and curated with that intention. And you know, there's been a couple festivals where we didn't get it right, you know, and it changed the dynamic a little bit. You know, and there are other factors. It's hard to, you know, that's the thing about festivals. It's like there's so many variables. It's hard to pinpoint why this happened or that happened, why it was successful or why that particular year didn't have as many sales or whatever, because there's so many different things that come into play. You know, the weather, the promotion, the lineup, the you know, it's just like all kind of different things. So, and also since Hiero Day, there's been a lot more festivals have sprung up around that weekend. You know, believe it or not, Labor Day is a big weekend, because it's the weekend. It's looked at as like the last day of summer, and then it used to be like that's when everybody went back to school that following Tuesday after the Monday, which is a holiday. Now they've reeled back the school schedule, so actually, kids are going back before that time, colleges and grade school. So it's been, you know, there's been a lot of different variables that have changed up the dynamic of the event, but it's been consistent as can be throughout the years. And just we want to have good music, man. We want to have 3 stages. We want you to be able to see your favorite act on each stage. And we want to have a stage for artists that don't have an outlet. You know, who aren't going to be seen, who aren't going to be opening up for any prominent acts. So this is their chance. You know, we had Anderson .Paak. We had Anderson .Paak before he exploded. You know, we had Kalani before she exploded. We had I mean, I guess Griselda was already was already on the underground scene. They were already popping, but you know, to have them there right as they were kind of hitting that stride, that was great too. So we just want to continue that.
You've got to look after the game that's looked after you. You know, I've seen you guys do that a lot. So
I mean, it's important to have artists behind the wheels of these events. You know what I mean? Not just us, but like in every city. I just feel like it's important for you know, if there's a collective there that people love and respect, that should be the collective that throws an event. You know, because who knows the culture better than us?
Yeah, definitely.
Not American Express and Sony and all these corporations, they got boatloads of money, but when it comes time to curate the event, they're going to need us because they don't have people that work for them that know the direction these events need to go in. So this is like by artists, for listeners who love hip hop music and love hip hop culture.
Yeah. Well, I hope it goes on till infinity anyway. I hope it just keeps going.
I hope, man. I hope we can keep on doing it. I don't see any reason why at this point it seems like the momentum is just carrying us at this point. You know, people are, you know, behind us and want to put gas in the tank when we're running a little low. So hopefully that will continue, and we can keep putting dope acts on the stage and providing something for this city to something this city can hang its hat on and say, you know, every year I can't wait until Hiro Day. It's a big task, but one that we welcome.
Absolutely. Again, I hope it just continue. I'm sure it will, because I can't see anything. I mean, if COVID couldn't stop it, I don't know what else will.
Yeah. Right.
One of the things I wanted to do was to bring more appreciation to genres like hip hop and rock music, especially, that seem to be misunderstood by a lot of people. You know, they have a lot of misconceptions initially, and there's so much that it offers. You know, it's a window to another world. I mean, listening to Illmatic, it takes me somewhere and to a time where I've never existed in, but I feel like I'm there.
Yeah, man, it's funny that you mentioned Illmatic. It's kind of hard to like the way we looked at that record was like the first super producer record in hip hop. Like the first record where like all these dope producers came together to make this one record. You know what I mean? Like,
and then, like, everyone wanted to make it Illmatic after that, didn't they?
Right.
Yeah.
But that record, amazing, because Nas had so much you know, he had been on all these records before that, so he wasn't like a new artist, but he had nothing out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just on these different songs, and people were like, oh man, I want to hear this dude make an album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like the way music can just like pull you into like this moment and in this memory. Is like, I bought the record on my 20th birthday. I was out of town. I was in Hampton, Virginia. I was helping my sister move back from college. And I went to the record store in Hampton, Virginia. And I bought the record and I took it back home and I listened to it. And I'm listening to Life's a Bitch and Then You Die. And Nas's verse starts off and he's like, I woke up early on my born day. I'm 20. It's a blessing. And I was just flipped out. Like, it's like he was talking to me, or like he was like, or I was talking through him. You know what I mean? Because it was literally my 20th birthday. And I mean, I was already just like blown away as soon as I heard New York State of Mind. I was just like, this is insane. And yeah, I mean, it was just like, it's crazy. Like, that time is such a blur for me, but that's one of the hip hop moments that there are a few hip hop moments that are just like stick out in my timeline from that age that I remember to this day. And that's actually one of them, is hearing that record. So yeah, it's amazing what a good piece of music can do in terms of your memory. You might not be able to remember what day of the week it is, but you remember something from, you know, almost 30 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And still remember what you were wearing when you heard it, and the smell of the room, and what time of day it was, and all this kind of stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that, because there's been some studies that have shown that music has helped patients with dementia. Like, it has triggered certain memories for them, and things like that just make me think just how powerful music can be. You know,
it's something spiritual, man. It's something spiritual. It's something. That's why I mention the dimensions, because, you know, we don't completely understand. The brain is still you know, one of our frontiers that we have yet to completely understand. Even though we know a lot about it, we're still learning about it. And just, you know, the pineal gland and all these different things that people say are the doors to the dimensions and all that. Like, in music, helping push you through them is like, you know, it's a vehicle for that. So it's like, why is it? I don't know what the answer is, but I would be very interested to hear what you find out, and looking forward to it.
Well, it's been amazing. It's been
man. Good talking to you, man. I hope you got enough to pull from, and keep me
definitely.
posted on how the project is going, and,
Yeah, well, definitely.
any other way I can help. Yeah, man. What time is it out there, man?
It's it's 20 past 2 in the morning, 2:20 in the morning.
Oh man, you're a late night owl like me. I'll be up at that time tonight.
It's
So.
usually me. I'm just well, I won't say crate digging, YouTube digging this time.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. Well, yeah, I'll keep in touch. I'll let you know how it goes. And thank you so much again. Really appreciate it.
All right, my brother. Take care, man. Take it
care, you
easy.
too.
Hopefully we'll be out that way soon.
Yeah, hopefully I'll keep an eye out. Take care.
All right. Peace.
All right.